Hello, and welcome to the recorded presentation for the Spring-Alameda Safety and Mobility Project. Today, we'll share an update on the project as of January 2026 and walk through what we heard from the community during outreach conducted in the summer and fall of 2025. We'll cover three main topics: the engagement activities we hosted, the key themes we heard from community members, and LADOT's recommended plan for addressing the challenges along this corridor. Let's start with an overview of the project. The Spring Street and Alameda Street project corridor is approximately 1.2 miles long. It begins at Wilhart Street, runs past Los Angeles State Historic Park and the Chinatown area, and ends near Union Station at Los Angeles Street. The project is guided by four main goals that reflect LADOT's priorities citywide. First, to reduce traffic-related fatalities and severe injuries. Second, to improve safe access to key destinations like the Los Angeles State Historic Park and Olvera Street. Third, to support sustainable transportation and align with the Mobility Plan 2035. And finally, to ensure major transit hubs like Chinatown Station and Union Station are accessible by all modes of travel. Looking at the transportation network around the project area, there is a clear lack of bicycle and pedestrian amenities, which can make getting around challenging. There are no dedicated bike lanes, and there are limited signalized crossings for people walking to the Los Angeles State Historic Park. Improving how people move through this neighborhood by all modes will make it easier for everyone to reach the places they live, work, relax, learn, and shop. This view shows the existing roadway design on Spring Street in front of Los Angeles State Historic Park. The street is wide and straight, which can encourage higher driving speeds. Opportunities for comfortable crossings are limited, and people walking need to cross four active travel lanes without a signal to stop traffic. At the same time, people biking or using e-scooters must choose between riding in traffic or using the sidewalk alongside pedestrians. Further south, this view shows the pedestrian crossing between Union Station and Olvera Street. This area sees heavy use by drivers, transit riders, and people walking. Alameda Street widens here, requiring pedestrians to cross six active travel lanes, which can be especially challenging for people with mobility concerns. There is a documented pattern for traffic collisions along Spring Street and Alameda Street, resulting in fatal and severe injuries. Between 2013 and 2022, there were 46 collisions involving people walking or biking, including six fatal or severe injuries. This averages to roughly one fatal or severe injury on this corridor every 2 years. Vehicle speed's a key factor in both how often collisions occur and how severe they are. Along Spring Street in front of the LA State Historic Park, the posted speed limit is 35 miles per hour. However, speed data collected for this project shows that about 15% of drivers are traveling faster than 45 miles per hour. Higher speeds increase the risk for everyone using the street, especially people walking and biking. At speeds around 42 miles per hour, a pedestrian has only about a 50% chance of surviving a crash. Now, I want to take a minute to talk about Measure Healthy Streets Los Angeles, also known as Measure HLA, which will affect this project. Back in 2024, Los Angeles voters passed a ballot measure, HLA, which requires the city to make upgrades identified in the Mobility Plan 2035 when implementing qualifying street improvements. As a part of this project, all proposed improvements will be consistent with the policies outlined in the Mobility Plan. We are legally required to install these elements. However, the Mobility Plan establishes the minimum required improvements for a street. LADOT has the ability to install elements beyond those designations in response to community input. Here's a helpful diagram to explain the different minimum required elements we need to install as part of this project. On the left is Wilhart Street. This is the northern extent of the project area by the Spring Street Bridge. On the right is Los Angeles Street, which is the southern end of the project at Union Station. Between Wilhart and Ann, Spring Street is on the bicycle lane network, which requires at minimum Class 2 painted bike lanes. Between Ann and Los Angeles, Spring and Alameda are on the Bicycle Enhanced Network, which requires a minimum Class 4 protected bike lane. The entirety of the project area is a pedestrian enhanced district, which requires the city to remove severe barriers to pedestrian accessibility. Would like to reiterate that these are the minimum required infrastructure improvements for this project, that LADOT can propose elements that go above and beyond this based on what we heard in the community engagement process. The City of Los Angeles initiated the Safety and Mobility Project on Spring Street and Ann Street to address these concerns. As part of this effort, Los Angeles Department of Transportation spent several months engaging with community members to better understand the challenges they experience, so the proposed roadway design reflects local needs and values. Our team used a wide range of outreach methods to reach as many people as possible. These included briefings with key stakeholder groups, pop-ups and tabling at community events, and an online survey for more detailed feedback. We also shared information through social media and direct mail to nearby addresses, conducted business canvassing along the corridor, and hosted a public open house. Our team hosted 13 tabling and pop-up activities at community events and major destinations, including the Farmers Market at the LA State Historic Park, William Mead Homes, Olvera Street, and other locations throughout the area. As part of this project, we partnered with two community-based organizations. We want to thank the Chinatown Community Land Trust and New Economics for Women for supporting our outreach efforts and helping LADOT better connect with Chinatown residents and the Olvera Street business community. We heard from many community members during this process, and we put together a summary of the key feedback we received. First off, the demographic information we received as part of the survey did closely align with the census data for the area, which indicates that our outreach efforts were effective in reaching the local community. The survey reached a broad audience, hearing from more than 2,000 community members through the online survey and community events. About one-third of those respondents reported living on or near the corridor. Additionally, 60% reported traveling on the corridor for shopping and entertainment, 24% reported working on or near the corridor, and 13% stated that they visit a family member, a house of worship, or a healthcare provider near the corridor. When asked how people currently travel along Spring Street and Alameda Street, the top modes of transportation were walking, public transit, driving, and biking. We also asked about the concerns related to the roadway, and what we heard closely aligned with the city's technical analysis. Community members expressed strong concern about high vehicle speeds, difficult crossing conditions, and the lack of dedicated space for people biking. We also asked people about what types of transportation facilities they were interested in seeing on Spring Street and Alameda Street. And what we heard was that 80% of survey respondents are interested in walking, biking, and using scooters along Spring and Alameda Street, but face significant barriers that prevent them from doing so. Here are a few examples of the types of comments we received. Many community members requested protected bike lanes, with a strong preference for more durable barriers rather than plastic posts. We also heard frequent stories about the difficulty of crossing the street, along with strong support for safer crosswalks and additional signalized crossings, especially near the Los Angeles State Historic Park. LADOT reviewed the survey results and comments and organized the feedback into key themes. Each theme was then paired with a proposed design response. For pedestrian safety, we heard strong concern about existing crossings and gaps in the network. In response, Los Angeles Department of Transportation is proposing high visibility crosswalks, leading pedestrian intervals, shorter crossing distances, and new signalized crossings at Ann Street and Messenger Street. We also heard concerns about comfort and maintenance, including limited shade, streetlight outages, blocked sidewalks, and debris. LADOT is coordinating with multiple city departments to address these issues as part of the project's implementation. To address vehicle speeds, one travel lane will be removed and the remaining lanes narrowed, which are proven measures for slowing traffic. Finally, to improve bicycle conditions, protected bike lanes will be added along the full corridor, and sections with poor pavement will be resurfaced to provide a smoother, safer ride. Now, let's take a closer look at the proposed design. At a glance, the proposed design includes several major improvements: 1.2 miles of protected bike lanes, more than 25 reconstructed curb ramps, zero point 0.8 miles of slurry seal, zero point 0.4 miles of street resurfacing, protected left turns at Alpine Street and Alameda Street, new signalized crossings at Spring Street and Ann Street, as well as Spring Street and Messenger Street, high visibility crosswalks, and leading pedestrian intervals at signalized intersections. One of the most common requests we heard during community engagement was for additional crossings to the Los Angeles State Historic Park. This rendering shows a new signalized crossing at Ann Street, where vehicle traffic will fully stop to allow people to cross safely. You can also see the travel lanes are reduced from 2 in each direction to 1 in each direction, which helps calm traffic. Protected bike lanes are provided on both sides of the street, and new ADA-compliant curb ramps will be installed to support safe, accessible crossings for all community members. This rendering shows the proposed design at College Street in front of Chinatown Station. In addition to the protected bike lanes, the crosswalk will be refreshed with high visibility markings. The reduced number of travel lanes, along with narrower lane widths, will make it easier to cross the street and improve access to the station for people walking. This final rendering shows the proposed design in front of Union Station. At this location, vehicle travel lanes are reduced from 3 in each direction to 2 in each direction, helping to better organize traffic and calm vehicle movements. Multiple bus routes serve Union Station, and buses will continue to pull up to the curb at existing stops, sharing the space with people biking. As in other parts of the corridor, this lane reconfiguration supports safer, more predictable movement for everyone. The pavement in this section is currently in poor condition with ruts and potholes, so the street will be resurfaced to provide a smoother, safer ride. New ADA-compliant curb ramps will also be constructed to improve access and safety for people with mobility impairment. Every project includes trade-offs as we work to balance different community needs. To implement the improvements discussed, some on-street parking will need to be removed, primarily near driveways and intersections. Extending red curb area improves visibility and helps drivers enter the street more safely. Along the 1.2-mile corridor, there are 209 on-street parking spaces today. The proposed design would remove approximately 30 to 40 spaces, meaning about 80 to 85% of existing parking would remain. LADOT analyzed traffic patterns to understand how the proposed changes would affect travel times. The analysis found during the morning and evening rush hours, travel times for people driving would increase by about 30 seconds to 1 minute per mile. For this project corridor, which is about 1.2 miles long, that translates to roughly an additional 30 seconds to 1 minute of travel time. Under LADOT policy, projects that result in less than 2 minutes of additional delay per mile are considered to have minimal traffic impact, and this project falls well within that range. Now let's take a look at the next steps for the project. The City of Los Angeles has completed the initial phase of community engagement and developed a proposed project design. We are now seeking feedback on these improvements as part of the final engineering phase. Construction of new curb ramps could begin as early as this spring. Roadway resurfacing and new traffic striping will follow, with installation anticipated in winter 2027. LADOT has made a feedback form available where you can share your thoughts on the proposed improvements. You can access this form by scanning the QR code on the screen or by following the link below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this virtual presentation.